In object-oriented programming, inheritance is when an object or class is based on another object. Prototypal inheritance, or class-based inheritance, using the same implementation, inheriting from an object or class, or specifying a new implementation to maintain the same behavior, realizing an interface, inheriting behavior, programming by difference. Such an inherited class is called a subclass of its parent class or superclass. It is a mechanism for code reuse and to allow independent extensions of the original software via public classes and interfaces. The relationships of objects or classes through inheritance give rise to a hierarchy. Inheritance was invented in 1967 for Simula. The term inheritance is loosely used for both class-based and prototype-based programming, but a narrow use is reserved for class-based programming. One class inherits from another, with the corresponding technique in prototype-based programming being instead called delegation. One object delegates to another. Inheritance should not be confused with subtyping. In some languages inheritance and subtyping agree, whereas in others they differ. In general, subtyping establishes an is-a relationship, whereas inheritance only reuses implementation and establishes a syntactic relationship, not necessarily a semantic relationship. Inheritance does not ensure behavioral subtyping. To distinguish these concepts, subtyping is also known as interface inheritance, whereas inheritance as defined here is known as implementation inheritance or code inheritance. Still, inheritance is a commonly used mechanism for establishing subtype relationships. Inheritance is contrasted with object composition, where one object contains another object, or objects of one class contain objects of another class. See composition over inheritance. Composition implements a as-a relationship, in contrast to the is-a relationship of subtyping.